Hi, this is Abul Hussain coming to you live and direct from London, the United Kingdom. And I have a very special guest with me today who's coming to you from all the way in Montreal, Canada. Now, before I introduce him, if you are watching this video outside of our Facebook group for social media marketing agencies, please find the link somewhere beside this video and do join in. So today I have with me Antonio Boccanfuso, who is the CEO of Hoski Media. Antonio, very welcome to you to the show.
Great to be here. Super excited.
Thank you for joining me and giving up your time. I know there's a couple of hours difference between us, and I know you are very busy building up your agency. So how about you begin by giving us a bit of an intro, because I know you have a great backstory about who you are, your agency, where it all started, how it came about.
Yeah, so my agency is a little bit different than the traditional agency that we kind of hear about every day, in the sense that I'm primarily a content creation agency, video marketing agency. I still haven't found the correct term that really describes it or puts it like in a box, but basically we help agency owners and mostly e-com owners scale their business with video strategies, paid traffic, and like funnels. So that's basically our specialty.
Right. Okay. And that sounds great, because obviously people think of video and they're like, oh, how do you actually? They see great videos. They see commercials made by the Harmon brothers and so many other great producers out there, and they're like, geez, how I wonder how I can use that in my business. So a lot of people who are going to be watching this, they're going to be like small business owners. They're going to be coaches. They're going to be speakers, subject matter experts. How can someone start implementing and applying, or using video rather, in their business?
Right. I mean, the best piece of advice that I could give is to just do it, right? Give yourself a challenge and release videos every day. So the biggest thing, and I'm sure that a lot of us have heard about this, is document what you're doing every day. So what something that I would do, like, there's different kinds of videos, right? There's like the selfie style videos where you're talking to the camera and talking to your business. They're about your business. There's the the big commercials like the Harmon brothers, and then there's like everything in between. So the idea is that you don't necessarily need one format. They all kind of exist to create this kind of ecosystem for your business, and that's like the most important thing to realize. There are kinds of videos that are meant to be released on a day-to-day basis, and there are videos that are meant to be released every 6 months to 12 months. It's important to like identify the need and to like just do it basically at the end of the day. So that's like my number one advice in terms of like why video is so important and like how to use it.
No, that's great. And in terms of people get stuck for content ideas. So when you're working with a client, how do you come up with ideas for content that they can produce?
Right. Okay. So it's really about mapping the customer journey. So there are different levels, right? So for example, we'll look at where people are coming from. So we had a client recently that was telling us that they get like all of their leads from like these two specific websites, and I was like, wow, everything is coming from here, and you guys are not doing any kind of video or any kind of video retargeting or anything like that. So I was like, okay, maybe we don't need a front end video. Maybe we just need some retargeting pieces. And then so it's really a dynamic kind of approach, and that's been one of the most difficult things about growing and scaling my agency, which has been about every business owner has like a different need. So it's not very easy to like, implement SOPs and standard ways of operating, because everything is so creative and dynamic. It really comes down to like, what is your customer's journey look like, and how can you just make it more enjoyable with like visual assets? That's basically how I look at it and how I approach every meeting.
And we jumped straight into tips, but one thing that I was hoping that you touch on was that you're an accounting student before you get into this world. So tell us a little bit more about that and how you transitioned, and I suppose why you transitioned.
Yeah. So man, I really like that part of my journey, even though it was, I would say, like the darkest years of my kind of career. Is that I was like studying accountant. I had my first internship. I had been in the maths and like chemistry and physics part of the academic route my whole life until university, and then I had my accounting internship, and then I got fired from it, obviously. And thank God that happened, because I would go in and I would look at like the lifestyle that was happening, and it's not good or bad. It just wasn't for me, you know. So being let go from that environment was really great. I hurried up to finish my degree. I ended up switching majors into something that like we have here in Montreal called business technology management, which basically boils down to IT solutions that help businesses scale. So that's where I started to like learn about SQL, database management, and like these kinds of really powerful tools that really opened my eyes. And I actually quite enjoyed that part of my university journey. And when that was all said and done, you know, obviously I was living at home, still am living at home, and my mom was like, okay, you can't stay at home all day. I mean, I was working. I had started 2 e-commerce stores. We were growing it. We were running ads. We were experimenting with different kinds of videos. And I just thought to myself, like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to scale this business and sell it if I don't have the proper assets to back it. So that's when I decided to go to film school. I moved away to Vancouver for a year, did the what we call like production. So basically handled every aspect of video productions, from scripting, you know, to actually building the team, casting, you know, doing TV shows. You know, we did like these mock episodes. We did short films, high concept videos, you know, mostly in the arts. And that's when I really started to like appreciate more like culture and what these things mean for us, you know, even as like business owners, because I do feel like a lot. I mean, the number one objection I get with owners is that they'll say like, oh, your stuff is great, but you know, is there really justification for paying like the price? And what I often say is that video and high-end arts are the soul of your business. I mean, it's not necessary to survive, but it really brings it to the next level. I mean, I don't know if any of the people here know who like Josh Snow is. You know, he owns Snow Teeth Whitening. He makes 10 million a month. That stuff would not be possible without the soul creating art, you know, that gives life to his brand. So it's just about like bringing it to the next level. And it's such a great topic of conversation, especially now with COVID, with these non-essential workers and art being in the very high category of non-essential workers. And, you know, it's just like if we were all locked away at home with no TV and no art and, you know, nothing to fuel our imagination, I mean, it would just be a very dull life, you know, so.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, obviously, you've touched a very good point there, because I've worked with a lot of creative people who are very good at what they do. And often they struggle to sell their services for a premium price. And I've only come across a couple of creative people, creative directors, if you want to call them that, who have been able to transition into being a successful entrepreneur. So how do you think someone who is actually stuck at that level can transition and actually build a thriving business?
I mean, it's one of the things that I'm like proud of, like in terms of what we've accomplished, you know, in the agency, which is, you know, really show people the value of what we're able to bring forward. And it really, we have to have faith in the results at the end of the day. It is a lot about testing, and a lot of the time it's a very scary thing to sell someone like a 5-figure package that, you know, and a story and a storyboard that you really don't really know if it's going to turn out, because there's so many moving pieces. There's, you know, I mean, we were about to film like a commercial or like a, you know, for one of our clients, when I couldn't get a hold of the location owner like the night before, and we had like, you know, it was over $10,000 on the line. I had 30 people waiting to get onto the set, and like, you know, and it's like just such a small thing can put the whole thing stop, or one of your actors gets sick and you have to replace them with someone who's not as strong and the emotion is not conveyed. Yeah, so it's a very like scary thing, but the number one thing is to provide the additional value that comes around it. So when I got out of school, like one of the biggest things was like, I want to create art and I also want to get paid for it, and I also want to serve my customers to the highest level. So it was about creating packages that solve solutions that allowed me to create the art that I wanted. So, so for example, a lot of this, like for example, we had a studio day for like an amazing coffee company that's launching here in Montreal. We actually broke their store a couple of weeks ago. They had to like stop running ads. They ran out of stock. But what happened was we'll do this we'll do like what we call like a scroll stopping video. you know, which is a lot more artsy. But then while we're filming that scroll stopping video, we'll also film some other more technical stuff like testimonials, retargeting ads, things like that, that will allow the client to like still get what he wants and allow me to create the art that I want. So it's about, yeah, finding a package that solves a big problem and that has the art that you want to do. So you know, it's not easy. It's not easy, but
no, it's not easy, absolutely, because when someone is, for example, running a Facebook ads agency, right, they will sit down with a prospective client, maybe show them a case study of how they got 10x ROI or 20x or whatever. You know, how does that process differ for creative guys like you when you need to demonstrate value to someone before they sign up on a 5-figure package, and often I know 6-figure packages?
Yeah, so here's the good and the bad news. The good news, well, let's just start. The bad news is that you have very little control over, for example, I often compare it to someone who's playing the stock market. You know, they'll put money in the stock market and it'll like go positive, and they'll think that their reasoning was right, when really there's no correlation between their reasoning and the stock market moving up. It's the same way with video. Sometimes like we'll release a video and it'll have a positive ROI or a negative ROI. And really what it comes down to is not really the video, but it comes down to the offer. This is something that I learned early on when I was building funnels for other agency owners, because, you know, as I was building this agency, I had to pay my bills. So I worked in other agencies to build funnels and landing pages that got people to where they want to go and make money. And what I saw often was that it didn't really matter like the kind of funnel that we were making, whether it was good looking or bad looking. It came down to what was being sold on that funnel. So for example, if we make the best video for a bad product, there's no way we're getting a positive ROI, no matter how amazing that story is that we tell, because even if we do get the click, we probably will not make the sale. So that was the thing. It was about aligning myself with business owners that had great offerings, so that basically my videos had a guarantee, you know, return on investment. So, you know, and I'm sure that as agency owners, people who are listening, you can relate in the sense that your business only really started to take off once you started to align yourself with small business owners who had the systems in place to close the deals, close the leads that you were giving them. And that was really like, you know, the 1 + 1 = 2. So same thing for video.
And I love your transparency here, you know, where you're actually opening up and telling us that whilst you're building your agency, you're working for another agency. And I know that is the same journey a lot of other people have. You know, nobody becomes a guru overnight, or, you know, without other people supporting them. So I know you've gone in a very quick space of time, you've built your business up and you're looking to hit $50,000 revenue months. What does your agency setup look like right now?
It's actually crazy. We're about halfway there this month. We have about, you know, 10 more days. And I got to make 20K. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And and we do everything organically, believe it or not. We haven't even started running ads for ourselves, which I think is really the encouraging part, because even at this level of word of mouth, people are referring us and people are seeing, pardon me, the value that we're bringing forward. So in terms of outreach, okay, this is what I'm going to give you my secret sauce. It's very bland sauce. So because we do high ticket, I have to do less outreach than a regular agency. So when you're hearing these numbers, what you need to do is you need to multiply it by 10. So for example, we do about 50 highly targeted outreaches on LinkedIn a day. We submit about 10 to 20 proposals on Upwork a day, and we add about 50 to 100 people on Facebook a day, all manually. I know that there are extensions and Chrome extensions that can help you do these kinds of things, but I really like to, as a CEO, like train my staff every week on like our ideal customer, the recent wins that we have, things that we learn, and this allows my team to level up along with me. Because the worst thing that you want to do is just hire a VA and, like, you know, what I quote is like, they take over, you know, your LinkedIn profile. That's like the worst thing that you could do, honestly. If you're just having someone take over, you know, once you've reached the 10K and you're like, oh, I want to fire myself. You know, like what you're going to do is you're going to fire yourself from doing the grunt work and transition yourself from being that to becoming a teacher and teaching your VAs to, you know, what to look for. Because I have VAs that, like, every day do outreach to micro influencers in order to basically beef up the value that we can give our customers, you know, for product reviews and user generated content. So not only are we hunting for clients every day, but we're also hunting for collaborators on the back end, you know, on a daily basis.
Yeah, and you've touched upon a very important point there, and that is at different stages of your journey in building an agency, you need to develop a different set of skills, and you always have different challenges that hopefully help you grow. What are some of the challenges that you've come across that you've had to surmount? Let's be real here, because people think they can open an agency, make 6 figures next week, and you know, retire the following month.
Yeah, hiring coaches that are too far ahead from you. That's got to be, I think, the number one thing that I see my peers doing. You know, even some of my clients, you know, they'll be making like they'll hit 10K a month, and then right away they'll spend that 10K and hire a coach that's making, you know, 300,000 a month, and think that they'll be able to bridge that gap in the span of the 3-month program that they bought. Completely delusional. You know, and you gotta realize that that's not how it is. And when you do hire a mentor, they should only be about 3 steps ahead of you and not 10 steps ahead of you, because you just won't be able to bridge that gap. You need to give yourself time to internalize the things that are going to be taught. You know, I went my whole career from like a year and a half ago to this point. I only hired my first coach very recently, and he was relatively new to the game, making just a little bit more than me. And honestly, the breakthroughs that we've been having recently have been great, because not only does he take the time to you know, sit with me one-on-one, but you know, it's much more real, and I feel like, you know, there's just this sense of transparency, and I get so much more of his time. So that's the first thing, and the other thing was, like, you know, to want it too quickly. You know, that was the big thing. It was like wanting it too quickly, and it's about breaking down your own belief systems that are holding you back. You know, we had you know, your relationships with money, your relationships with your team. You know, I mean, it's just I can't. There's just so much. It's really all up here.
Yeah, perfect. And now bring these back to kind of practical tips that you can apply in your business straight away. One kind of video that we see all over the web right now is your VSL.
Yes.
And you see some people who love the VSL model, some people who totally hate it. In your experience, why do you feel a lot of VSLs just fail?
Yeah, well, okay. Oh, well, I mean,
is it the quality of the video, or are we
no,
talking about content?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It just doesn't convey your personality. There's too many people that try to stick to a rigid script. You know, which is why I try not to write such a rigid thing. I try to just write a framework for them to do. So in terms of the framework that we use, in terms of how the video is supposed to be seen by your audience, it's like you want to have about 15 seconds of testimonials at the front, just cut up very quickly. You know, you want to have a quick introduction where you call out your audience. So testimonial, call out your audience. You know, you want to touch on the pain points, and then you tell them what they want, and then you give them more social proof, and then you make them an offer. The Harmon Brothers have a great course on this that you could do. You know, we've taken that course and we've actually summarized it down to like a page. You know, and this is what we use for training. But you know, so at the end of the day, it's social proof. Call out your audience, touch on the pain point, give them a solution, give them more proof, make them an offer. And that should be the structure of your video. And then everything in between is pure creativity. You know, so we did a VSL recently for Idris, who you interviewed. You know, yeah. So you know, we had this concept with like a billboard, because one of his clients was going to give him a billboard on the side of the highway. So we wanted to play with that. You know, so we had the drone. We started on the billboard, and then we swept down to his face all the way up there, and then he started his speech. It was very impactful. It's performing really well. You know, so it's like, but we still respected that framework, right? And then the stuff in between was just like creative stuff that you could have fun with.
Yeah, and touching on that creative stuff, where do you find your source of creativity? How does it come to you? I mean, do you close your eyes and meditate for a bit, or how does it work?
I have a team of VAs that scrape the internet for any kind of competitive videos that we see that are interesting. Always staying one step ahead of the trends is really like what we do every day. And if you're hiring an agency and they're not doing that in their niche, well, that's like a problem, right? Because then if you're not innovating constantly, you're following behind. So now we always keep up with the biggest names in the game. So, you know, obviously like Josh Snow, everything that Lumen has been doing, the skincare company, King Kong Marketing, like their videos are great. You know, we just basically, you know, we want to be the number one. So in order to be the number one, you gotta follow the number ones, you know. So yeah, every day we have people that scrape the internet for that.
And that's a great tip, because a lot of people think they need to reinvent the wheel when they don't need to. They just need to improve it and find another way to capture people's attention. So, you know, in terms of frameworks, there's a lot of people out there who are trying to use video for personal branding, who are going on YouTube, not on YouTube, well, maybe on YouTube, but mainly on Facebook. They're going live, they're posting videos, and they're not seeing a lot of traction in terms of getting views, getting people to reach out with them. Is there something that they should be doing post-production to be getting that reach?
Okay, so this is actually something recently that we've been starting to offer, which is like these kind of video editing services where people like, it's a very simple system where you film your live, you dump it in a Google Drive folder for us, and then we chop it up and we put it in a final output folder. You get a notification by email when it's done, and it's all chopped up for you, ready to share. So we usually work like 1 week behind. So you film your content for the week, and that content's going to be ready for the following week. So you're always just 1 week behind. And the structure that we tell people to do, and especially even our editors, so if you're hiring someone else, this is what you could tell them. You tell them, like, in my live, find a topic, take the conclusion of that topic, right? So basically that part is going to be at the very end. You take that part, you bring it at the beginning, you put your logo, and then you let the topic play out. So it's very similar in terms of like a cooking show. In your cooking show, what you're going to do is that you're going to show the final dish, and then you're going to go back and do the cutting board and show them the ingredients, but you need to show them the final result first. And it's the same principle in terms of like creating a scroll stopping video. When you have an ad, you want to show the final image as a thumbnail and then have it play, so that people like see the final thing, and then they're like, oh wait, there was something there. You know, so for example, we have a coffee one that's gonna run recently, where it's just a blank screen with smoke coming out, and then the coffee bag slams on the table. Well, the thumbnail is going to be with the coffee bag already there, and then as soon as people scroll past, the coffee bag is going to disappear and we have the smoke. So then they're going to want to see, like, how does it get to that final shot. So you want to show the conclusion. Don't, like, you know, people are not going to like magically wonder what's going to happen. You know, they want the answer first, and then they'll explore what you know, the following stuff.
Perfect. And you know, that's exactly how I suppose you get people hooked, especially on videos start auto-playing and they just see someone speaking. Nobody wants to see that, but you show them, you know, you show them the wow factor to begin with, and they hang around to see how did you get there. And you see that all the time on YouTube. Yeah, no, perfect. Well, Antonio, you know, you've been very generous with your time, and, you know, you've been sharing quite a few golden nuggets in terms of what people can do with using video and what they can apply straight away. So there's people out there who are building creative agencies, which is your space right now. You know, final question would be, you know, if you had to start out again, how would you do it? And what would be the one piece of advice you'd give someone who's starting their journey today?
Honestly, okay, if you're in the creative space and you're like an artist, I guarantee you're a perfectionist, and that perfection is the enemy of progress. So you don't need a site, you don't need a logo, you don't even need a damn portfolio. All you gotta do is you gotta go out there and just do it. Make the content, take some free clients. Honestly, it's gonna sound bad, but if you're creative and you're the dude with the camera who's editing, all you're really investing is your time. So find some clients, strike a deal to get the results, right? Because that was my biggest issue at the beginning, was that I did the videos and I never got the data to go with it. So that delayed me like 6 to 8 months. So what you want to do is you want to find someone who's going to be cool and who's going to share that data with you. Do the video for free or however low budget that you can. Build some portfolio pieces and do one kind of video. Because when you do the one kind of video, There are people that are going to ask you for other kinds of videos, and then you could say yes or no. But if you're not doing the one and you're spreading yourself thin too quickly, it's going to be very, very difficult. Yeah. So, but perfection, like steering away from perfection, is the #1 advice that I have to give to creatives who want to build this kind of agency. It's the enemy. It's the enemy. It'll paralyze you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of people that say take imperfect action, but do it every day. You know, don't wait for something to be perfect before you act on it, because then you just don't finish it. Now, Antonio's on Facebook. He's sharing daily nuggets on his profile. Go and find him. I'm going to tag him to the video, so it'll be quite easy for you to find him. Antonio, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.